Hello and welcome back to another episode of Henry Weston's Old Mate the Podcast. I'm joined by another one of the Timeline Skull Twitter community, Mr. LazyJam, as the Twitter profile is. Before we get over to Lazy, please, if you're watching us on YouTube, just like the video, subscribe to the channel. That'd be great. We're at the heady heights of about 60 subscribers now, so not far off 1 million. If you're listening to us on Apple, Spotify, Google, Amazon, all the other ones, if you could like the show, leave us a 5-star review. That would be brilliant. And hopefully we can get some of these fun chats out to more people. I'm already grinning because I love these type of podcasts. I've got Lazy over there if you're watching us on the video. LazyJam, good evening, sir. Thank you for joining me on Henry West's Old Mate
No,
podcast.
thank you. Thank you for having me. Good evening.
How are you doing?
I'm tired today. It's been a long old day, but yeah, no, good. Really, really good. On the back of a Butlins weekender. I spent the last 4 days on absolute detox, coffee, water, good food, nothing else. So yeah, no, today's a better day than Monday was. Monday was not a good day.
Well, I tell you what, I'm pretty tired myself, actually, because I've been just chasing a delivery driver down. I had posted Mr. Davey Reebok a thank you gift, and I've just chased him halfway around my village to get that back after he dropped out of our little Sober October experiment. Sober October experiment that I actually dropped into your DMs because I mistakenly thought you might be attempting it. And
No, don't be daft. Yeah.
Let's talk about the Twitter community. We'll get round to timeline scales, but I asked Dave in the last podcast, and it actually gave me quite a good response. What was Twitter like for you, and how did you use Twitter before you became a part of this community based around the sort of shared appreciation of having a beer?
It's a really good question, actually. I think I've had Twitter for it's over 14 years, something like that, like really early on, and I never got it at the start. It was Facebook, I think it was even before Instagram. If you can't see it, it was people just writing words. I'm like, this don't make sense, and people never used to interact, and it was all a bit weird. So I used to use it just as my news source. I used to think I would follow. I don't anymore, but I follow Sky News and whoever else, Fox, and you would get a little. Oh goodness, there's a little snippet, and that's what I used to think it was about. So I used to do it that. And then it went on to I was following sort of the footballers and stuff like that, and oh wow, the World Cup's come in, and oh wow, they're posting stuff on their Twitter feeds and bits like that. Then I've got and people probably see, and I see them out and about, even when I'm sculling. They're like, "Oh yeah, you like your beer now, don't you, mate?" And it's like, so I've got quite a few real life. The whole thing's real life, but I've got quite a lot of people I know on Twitter. Even the Stag deal I went to the weekend, the boys were like, "Oh, you're gonna be sculling." So you'd have chats about stuff that you'd been up. I mean, you see my tweets. A lot of the stuff is just the stuff. I'll do something and I'll be like, like last night, a mate didn't text me back. I'm like, should do it as a carrier pigeon, blah, blah, blah. And that used to be like what I'd do back then. But back then I'd have 3 followers. So it always used to seem a bit daft, a bit, what's the point of it? Then I just got more followers. You do the whole not follow for follow, but you'd follow someone and they follow you, and it just got a bit bigger in terms of where it's going. I started posting silly memes and videos and bits like that. But yeah, I think it all started around lockdown time, the whole Timeline Skull. But there was quite a lot of the lads on Timeline that I'd been following before Timeline started. So you'd already built up a bit of a rapport, and then it erupted. So
yeah, erupted's a good word, isn't it? And I mean, I just want to go back. I've had Twitter from pretty much the outset, similar to you. So you'll probably remember the early days of Twitter when it was literally Fridays was a follow back Friday, and you tweet a tweet out on Friday and hope to pick up 5 or 10, or if you were lucky, 20 followers every Friday. But yeah, to sort of get to your point, I just happened across Craig's profile. Just maybe it was someone had shared his famous lying in his paddling pool, sort of spitting his cider up in the air, and then through that, I sort of developed found the fun of the sculling community. I wasn't drinking at the time, I'm coming up for 5 years without a drink now, but my laddish, if is that a word, laddish sense of humor, the memes, the videos, it all appealed to me. And then of course I've come across like Davey last week and yourself, quite prominent characters within the timeline now. And I think what I've enjoyed about some of your videos, Lazy, is it's you share your day with us in the space of sort of 2 minutes 20. You managed to share and give us a little insight, not to you. You don't sort of allude to much else, but you're very good. That 2 minutes 20, you can make it go a long way, and that includes drinking maybe a beer, potentially a beer and a half out of that famous.
Yeah, that's normally about 3 seconds of it. To be fair,
Yeah,
it's normally like 2 minutes and 17. Waffling. I'm like waffling, and I chat, and I mean, it's just like for my work. I'm in front of people. I talk to people a lot, so I think right in the start when we was doing the timelines, people used to message me, and which blows my mind, like, oh, I love your videos, that sort of thing. But a lot of people not only wouldn't get in front of a camera and start talking, they won't go up to people and start talking. Whereas I go to pubs and clubs and whatever, but where's he gone? It's like, but I'm off. How you doing? What are you up to? Just having a bit of chat. So when I'm talking, that camera just disappears. It really does. And what did I do today? After kids swimming and all of the things that have gone through might not seem interesting, but I think in terms of how I say it, people are like, wow, that was really funny. And I'm like, well, how's that funny? I just told you what I did. But
yeah.
if people find it funny or amusing or interesting, then
It's a
cool.
natural, I think, yeah, to me, you have like you say, I don't get the impression that it's aimed at the camera, but that comes across in a good sense. You're being yourself, and it's very honest, but with that underlying wit, which does appeal to many. And we've mentioned the timeline. We've mentioned, there's many prominent characters. We don't need to go into them. For me, on my Twitter, you're one of the sort of the characters that I look out for and enjoy watching the videos at the minute.
Really kind of you.
But the big talk of the timeline at the minute, let's get into it. Sober October is happening. We had a few people sign up. Don't want to call too many people out. Don't want to call anyone out apart from my old mate Dave, who was on here a little while ago. Never mind, Dave.
He knows he's getting called out anyway, so he won't mind that.
He won't mind. He was a brilliant guest, and I hope to get him back on. So I did plan on having him on the 1st of November, but we might get him on quicker. I think everything that Timeline does with regards to the weekend challenges, me and Davey chatted about it, and it's brilliant that they managed to keep the whole community sort of manages to keep itself going. But I think these weekend challenges, if you will, or just mixing it up by offering a different kind of beer or just putting these themes on it, has seemed to keep the community engaged throughout 7 days a week, really, if we're honest. How has the Sober October timeline not gone for you? You're not doing it, but how have you found it from sitting back? Have you enjoyed the interaction? Sadly for Dave, he's not completed it. Real Ordinary's hanging in there. He had his golden ticket. I don't think we want to get into too much chat about the golden ticket.
No, let's not.
Suze is doing absolutely amazing. Love her videos. And the other, Bear, I'm hoping to have a chat with Bear at the weekend.
Lewis is doing brilliantly.
Lewis is doing amazing.
Oh, there's so many of them. I think what I struggle with sometimes, and you might do as well, is that because there are so many people, you have a day's work. Everyone has a day's work. I've got the kids, and you come home, and by the time you've caught up with everyone who's going, you're like, oh my gosh, I've missed. I said to Lewis the other day, he got his little thing from Phil Knott, which I think is great. I said, you're gonna have to message me when you do it, just in case I miss it, because there's so much going on at any one time that you kind of go, oh, I haven't spoken to that person for a long time. And then you go, well, actually, there's nearly 4,000 people. Appreciate not all of them do bits, and you're not as close to any one person. But you're like, oh gosh, I haven't seen that person for a week. And then you go on their profile. That's what I have to do. I just go through the profile, go back through the videos, and it becomes quite not time consuming because you're enjoying it. I don't watch the telly in the evenings. You know,
It's certainly, I mean, I guess the kids nowadays would call it a rabbit hole, wouldn't they? It's certainly a rabbit hole that you can get lost down. I'm lethal for, I mean, I've almost given up watching series. If I'm sat at home on my own, if my wife's out or doing something else, if I'm sat on the sofa with the telly on and I've got the iPad in front of me, I might as well turn the telly off because I'm watching the video and then I might be sending a little DM trying to hook someone up, get them on this podcast, or might just be messaging someone like Sue saying it's, you know, it's wonderful. What you're doing is amazing. And that might not necessarily be in Sober October. Messaging yourself, messaging someone else. Just, I think sometimes it's just nice to message someone and say that video was either funny or that video meant something to me or I could relate to what was discussed. And let's go on to talk about a few of things that I've picked up from the Lazy Twitter profile. Stag do's. I used to think when I was a drinker, I had a fairly large social circle. I've been on my fair few stag do's outside of the country, not too many in the UK actually, but I might be right in thinking you seem to have one booked in every other weekend at the minute.
Yeah, I haven't got any more. I've got one more. I can't get any more mates. And I mean that. I've got one more mate who's getting married early next year, and we're going to Ibiza next year, so that'll be a bit of a hoot. But yeah, it's what's actually COVID caused a lot of it, to be fair, because what's actually happened is if you can think back, 2 years was it? 2 years? So 2 years,
2019, wasn't it?
Yeah, so 2019, everyone's lovely jubbly. I'll get married at the end of 2019. No, you're not. So then they rolled it over to 2020, and a lot of people still couldn't get married. And then 2021 was fully booked up. So this has been the first full year that anyone could travel sensibly. You know, last year was a pain in the ass to travel.
Yes.
So even if anyone was trying to organise stag do's, it weren't ideal. When you even think back to sort of summertime last year, it wasn't fully open. You know, there was still bits that weren't open, and even if they weren't. You know how you should be paying the money for. So this year has been. I have spent nearly upwards of near thousands of pounds on people's weddings this year. So I've been to it, you know, and it's no fault of anyone's, but it's just that you've got to squeeze it into a year. So all my friends are getting married, but by June of next year, I've got no more friends. So I can't do it anymore.
I think, yeah, I mean, I think 3 to 4 years ago, I'm not very, it's not really anything to do with not drinking anymore. I was just never very good at social things. And I used to dread christenings. I used to dread wedding invites. And we did have one year in recent memory. I think possibly the last year that I was drinking. So what would that be? 2017. We had 3 or 4 weddings in the summer, and it was absolutely horrific for me. I was quite an outgoing person, and I did like a drink too much, obviously, but I still struggled to get myself up for it. And yeah, I remember having 2 or 3 rolled in, and then another invite come through the post, and I was just like, "You wankers!"
I mean, it's very selfish. I can be that way sometimes, but I'm spending loads of money on something that I don't really want to do, if that makes sense. You know, it's because I like going out. As again, you probably see I like going out, but I've picked that place where I want to go out, and I've picked, you know, what I'm drinking, whatever. This would be you. A lot of it this year is like you've got to book this day off of work, and it's like, what for? What? Oh, we got to drive to. Where is it in November? I've got to go to Winchester for a wedding in Winchester on a Monday. It's lovely. Don't.
Winchester's a lovely place. Yeah.
Yeah. No, and the fact that you're seeing your friends get married, it's lovely. It's fantastic. But we did that with Italy a little bit. We went to Italy, and you saw the picture. It was fabulous. Honestly, it's the best experience I've ever had in my life. I didn't choose it, so you're a little bit like, I didn't know where I was going. I had no idea where I was going. So, you know, had the most wonderful time, but it's not your time, if that makes sense. You're on someone else's time. So it was lovely. Running out of friends, which is not a bad thing. It's because I'm running out of money as well.
I know. I mean, I got married me and my wife got married in 2014, and for we didn't end up. We had a honeymoon booked the following year to the Dominican Republic, I think, and then my wife fell pregnant, and we couldn't travel to the Dominican Republic because of some injection she couldn't have to because she was pregnant. And then my best mate dropped the bombshell on me that he was going to get married in Austria, at Meerhofen, for a skiing
Oh,
wedding.
Meyerhofen, fantastic. We used to.
Fantastic play. Did you? He met his partner there. Ski bombing, I think, was the
Snow
festival.
bombing. Yeah, snow bombing the festival. Yeah, I know
Yeah,
about that.
but yeah, he dropped that wonderful bombshell on us. So out the window went our honeymoon, and in came the £5,000 wedding, because I was asked to be the best man. And as wonderful as the trip was, and Cookie, you never watched these, but it was a wonderful trip. But it cost me a honeymoon.
Yeah, like I said, it was my cousin's wedding in Italy, and the minute he mentioned it, it was like, and it was quite awkward as well, because there was only a few of us got invited. There was literally 8 people.
Yeah.
So in my head, first of all, I'm like, wow, this is going to be awkward because we've got a big friend circle. So, and then I'm like, right, how am I going to afford this? But yeah, you make it work, don't you? And I tell you what, you enjoy it, and you do it for your friends. And
it's I mean, it's always, once you get there, it's always a wonderful experience, and you're glad that you've gone.
and I got very pissed as well. Italian beer is superb. So yeah, really enjoyed that.
Let's move on to it's sort of a bit of a stag do. It's this rave scene that I wasn't into it. I'm not into it. It used to be an underground thing, potentially, if I'm not mistaken. But is it having a? It's part of your. It's part of your sort of social scene, isn't it? You're into that. The late nights, the 48-hour parties, are they?
Yeah, it's the music. I think it's the night out. Don't get me wrong, but even at Butlins, we went. They had like a bit of a nightclub, and I just stand under the speaker and just listen to the music. It's no, I've always loved the music. I've always loved just going out. When I was real younger, I started off listening to heavy metal, so Korn, rock, Slipknot, and I still go and watch bands, but then sort of your tastes just evolved, don't they? And then it turned into dance music. It started off with house and drum and bass and sort of deeper house music. But then what you find is that they only do it at night time. Whereas the rock gigs used to finish at 10:30, these don't start till 10:30. And your favorite DJ don't come on set until 4:30 in the morning. So you got to make a night of it. And I always just say that is all I'm doing is you just go on night shift. I go out at 10:30. I get in at 7, 8 in the morning. I just sleep through the day.
Yeah.
It's a pain in the ass. I try to do beg your pardon. They do day ones as well. So I do prefer a day festival. If you go to a festival, they're my favourite things. Just the sort of festival. Go there midday, 1 o'clock, home by 11, in bed by 12. Because I'm getting a bit too old. I'm getting old. I'm just getting back from these. When I'm walking in at 8 in the morning and I'm just going, it's light. There's people going to work. What am I doing? And I feel rotten.
I think one of your recent videos with you sort of dragging yourself along a set of railings, maybe on your way home, and the sun was popping up, and it might have been 8 or 9 in the morning, and I think you suggested that you might be getting a bit old for these sort of carries on.
But then you do it, and then you go out, and then, like I said, it's one of them things. People, and we went to Stag do, and people were out until 3, 4 in the morning, and they'd never been to a club before. Some of these people, and even the older gents, it was 50 plus gents. I was like, I didn't realize how good it was. You go out, and I was like, you just dance the night away, literally dance, enjoy the music, have a good time, and then you look at your watch and you go, Jesus Christ, it's 6 in the morning, and then it's the walk to the train. And I do I'm a bit of I'm a glutton for punishment, I think. Yeah. I like me and my friends, we've got one friend who mainly does it with me, and it's the walk through London at 6:30 in the morning, getting that train home at 7 in the morning, peace, quiet, nothing going on, have a little nap on the train, walk in the house, and then reality hits and you're like, oh God, I feel like shit. Have a quick shower, back to sleep, and then wake up, kebab. That's literally, I've got a routine. It's set out, wake up, have a kebab. Sunday will be a bit rough, and then back to work Monday. But yeah, it's music. It is the music. Yeah, it's a scene, but there's a lot of people that do it just to go out and take a picture, I suppose. Raving, whatever. But then I do that. I'm like taking a picture, and then I'll be at the front. I'll be at the front head down, dancing. And this is what I mean. You're there. Hello, mate. How you doing? Oh, yeah, nice beard. And then you're literally just chatting, and everyone's there for the same reason. All chatting, all talking about the music, all having a good time. And I've never once had any bother on a night out. Made friends, not close enough to go on stag do's because I can't afford it. But I've made, you make friends, and then you meet them on Facebook, and they go, "Oh, you going to this one?" I'm like, "Oh no, I can't make this one." And and then like you said, it's a scene. It's a whole.
Yeah,
it does become that way.
Well, you've just suggested that when you come in, you've got your routine, you get your kebab. Let's talk something that is obviously again, quite prominent on your profile, and it's not kebabs, but it is your go-to snack at the end or maybe halfway through a session. You've become, it'll probably be fair to say, you've become the man no more for his tasting crisp, maybe than his beer in recent weeks.
I do get tagged in a lot of crisps. What do you think of these, mate? And I'm going to put it out there, right? I do eat a lot of crisps. The thing is, I don't know about you guys, and people talk about getting the munchies, and it's normally associated with something else, isn't it? Where you get the munchies. But I have one beer, and I'm on the hunt. I have literally that beer. I'm hungry. I've literally had a full dinner, right? And that beer touched me. All right, I'm hungry, and that's it. I'm not even hungry. So then you've seen probably the crisp straw. So I raid the crisp straw. I probably have, and I'll go through like 8 or 9 bags in a night. It's outrageous. It is bad, but
I picked up a favourite on my way home because I knew I was doing this podcast. So I'm not going to ask you to rate my choice, but I picked these up.
How much are they?
They're £1, but that's a big bag.
Oh, I was going to say, inflation, they used to be 10 pence, didn't they?
That's 70 grams. Pence. So,
yeah, they used to be. Always used to get them as well. They used to do the tomato ketchup flavour, I think, of Space Ranger as well. But yeah, I'm partial to a potato based snack, as it is well known. I mean, Phil Knott sent me some. The thing is I had one of the bags, but I'm trying to be good, and I'm just getting. It's so hard on this timeline to be good. You know, I've come back from Stag do of it, and like a complete idiot all this weekend, drunk like a complete idiot. Been good for 4 days, and I've already been tagged in a skull this evening. Oh, should I just do one? But then if I do one, I'm going to eat a bag of crisps, and if I eat a bag of crisps, I'll eat 3, and then I'll have a beer. So it's, I'm a bit of a crisp fiend. But like I said, people seem to get this impression that I don't eat crisps in the week. I haven't had a bag of crisps since 2 weeks. It's the minute I have a beer. If I have a beer. I can't be stopped. I can't be stopped. I mean,
I'm pretty lethal on the snacking now that I've stopped drinking. But as a drinker, if I was drinking at home, I was definitely into the snacks in a big way. The last thing we sort of touch on before, because what I probably should have said at the start is what we're going to work towards in this chat, Lazy, is we want to work towards a time on your Twitter profile over the summer where you were in some training for a
that's
triathlon.
A very loose term. I'll put it, which we will touch on.
Yeah, but we're going to get to that. But the last thing I've got written in front of me, stuff that I've sort of pulled from your profile watching your videos, and it's a bit of something I like to spend my time doing. And it's, you enjoy the time on the Xbox or the PlayStation, don't you? You're a bit like
I'm a
Davey.
Massive nerd.
You sign into Twitch. I mean, I watch Twitch more than I should. This time of year, I'm always on Twitch this time of year because I'm a hopeless FIFA player. But I do, when Ultimate Team comes out every year, I do switch Twitch on, and I've got Fuji's a FIFA streamer that I like to watch. But you're more into, I mean, I noticed you posted about NHL. I'm an ice hockey fan, but I've never really been in. I was into it on the Mega Drive many years ago, but I haven't been able to get into these new games. But
it's one of the best sports games you ever play, and it sounds crazy, but my gaming stretches back to when I was, I'm 35 now, getting old. But my gaming stretched back since I was about 12. When I was some dial-up ISDN, you used to play on the PC. I always used to be a PC gamer. Right. So it started out with Counter-Strike, a game called Counter-Strike 1.6. Loved it. I used to play semi-professionally in a little league, and it was, started off with a clan. that became my first ever idea of a community, because we had a clan. Okay. So hence where my nickname does come from. I used to be called Lazy Boy. That used to be my nickname, but Lazy Boy was taken when I came to Twitter. So anyway, I used to play Counter-Strike with this clan. Brilliant. Used to, really get involved. And then we played really nerdy. The 1.6, I think it stopped, and then it went to Counter-Strike Source, and then the next one after that was crap. So everyone didn't want to play it no more. Someone said, well, try World of Warcraft. And that is super nerdy. Yeah. But again, it was a clan. It was like a group of people, and they was all really nice, and we used to have a really nerdy. We used to have a meet once a year in London, people all around the country, and the whole idea of gaming then didn't just become a computer game. It became I couldn't sit there and play, and this is where I'm different. I couldn't sit there and play a single player game. Sorry, I can't. I don't know where the last time I played a single player computer game. I get all the Call of Duties, bang, straight on multiplayer. I get all of the Battlefields, whatever, straight on multiplayer. And then everyone just got a bit older, and you ain't got the time to sit on. So everyone dispersed, but you still keep in touch with people. There's people on my Twitter. They'll say hi. That used to play Warcraft with, used to play Counter-Strike with, and then I met a group of people again on a football forum, a lot of football forum people, and this is actually talking like this kind of gets how I've got my sort of following and followers on Twitter. I used to have a football forum, played NHL, and I was like, wow, this game is brilliant, but I don't understand it. Kept going offside, going, God, this is shit. I keep going offside.
Oh, so a two-line pass sort of thing. And
I just kept going over the blue. They're going, why are you over the blue line? Like, what's the blue line? Or we kept getting interference. Why can't I just smack people? There is actually rules. So then, I thought the game was brilliant. I didn't understand the sport, but the game was brilliant. So then I got in with this group of friends, and I learned I like hockey. Right? Now, it made me like the hockey. So the group of friends I now play Xbox with, there's a guy called Big Shim. We all play Puggo. There's loads of people. Phil. We play NHL, Warzone, and then we just in between, because it's a bit easier just to turn it on or turn it off. I've got my computer set. I just turn it off.
Yeah.
So still a massive nerd. Still play it, but a lot of it is community based rather than just going on and playing a computer game.
Yeah, I think that must be what it's about for everyone, realistically, isn't it? Who goes on and plays these multiplayer games. I mean, you get I guess you get a certain amount of people who just find something they're good at, and it's that sense of winning. But someone like you said, what you've just described there, it's another community. It's very similar to the community I've found on Twitter. That sense of community is a very, very strong and powerful thing. I've talked on many podcasts about the power of the Timeline Skulls community and all the good, realistically, that it does for people. And yes, it is a community based around a shared appreciation of drinking alcohol. But as I said with Davey last week, there is you couldn't necessarily take the beer away from the community and for it to exist. But I think you guys would have all found each other somehow, wouldn't you?
It's a difficult one. I'll say that. Yes.
Right.
Yes, in a way. Some of us, yes. Others not. I'm talking to people that I'd never have spoken to before in my life. So I agree with it to an extent, but I think you've just got a bigger platform, haven't you? You've just got this big platform that I'm speaking and meeting to people. I mean, I would just stick with my little group of friends that I've got. But if you think Timeline Skulls is to do with alcohol, and then what happens is, and what is happens is, like, you'll play some music in the background. This is how it all works. I feel, play some music, and then someone replies and goes, "Oh, great tune. Oh, this guy's into jungle music or drum and bass music or whatever." And then someone else will hop on to someone who's listening to AC/DC, and they hop. If they weren't drinking beer, they probably wouldn't, if that makes sense. But some of us, I'd imagine, like I said, knew some of the guys before Timeline Skulls. So yes, but I think it's just given a bigger platform to meet more people. But it's I think whether you game now or not, I think lockdown was the biggest time that I I worked the whole way through it, but it was after I was seeing these people or talking to them online in the evenings more than my own friends.
Yeah.
There was a time I hadn't seen my own friends for 6 months or whatever it was when it was lockdown. Every night we'd be on Warzone, you know, getting a party. Come on, boys, who's coming online? You know, a few beers, sat at home. Brilliant, you know. If we didn't have it, I'd just been sat on my ass watching Netflix, you know. So you've got like that little bit of interaction, which I find some people, oh, you're gaming and whatever. It's because it's like anything that someone doesn't understand, I suppose. It's hard to get your head around.
Yeah, exactly. And again, me and David touched on that last week. People are often scared or put off by things they don't understand. I touched on it before we chatted about gaming, Lazy, that I wanted to get around to a chat about, and you described very loosely this sort of training regime that you went through, or were going through. The gym, obviously, is a big part of your life. Anyone who touched on your profile will notice that, and I've loved some of these recent edits on some of the photos.
Oh, it's superb. Any good? Like, I'd love to give him a shout out, Darren. It's superb. I mean, I'm setting them up now as well. I'm like, well, I wasn't even go to the gym, but I'm gonna go to the gym to post a selfie so I can get David Reebok in there somewhere. So yeah, they're superb. But that's the beauty of Twitter. I feel is that how these little things and little memes just sort of you know, when next time one of us posts a gym selfie, it's going to be where is he hiding?
And yesterday's one in the back window was because I was
genuine
looking
hysterics. I was at work. Well, I say I work from home, but I was looking at my phone, going, "Where is it?" Like I was going, "It's in the carpet," and then I see it in the back. When I say genuine hysterics, I was pissing myself. Yeah, the funniest thing I've seen in ages. But yeah, it's brilliant.
But before we talk about fitness, because I don't want to get this part of the podcast wrong, and seem either insensitive or uneducated. But you're happy to talk about it. So you've been diagnosed with MS, multiple sclerosis.
Correct. Yeah.
To me, as an uneducated person, I would think of multiple sclerosis is something that makes you tired and potentially impacts you in a physical way quite heavily. But yet I see you in the gym all the time, and over the summer I saw you out on your bike in the water swimming and doing loads and loads of running. So would you sort of explain to us how and when this diagnosis occurred and how you've managed it, and how it impacts you, because you obviously manage it superbly well with all the physical work that you put into your body out, when you're not working.
First of all, I'm lucky, so that's the first thing I say. I mean, I'll never forget. So I'll do the whole sort of story. I was 21 years of age. You can imagine 21, you're invincible.
Yeah.
And was just about to go on skiing. We talk about Meyerhofen, just about to go skiing Meyerhofen. So it's March. So it's probably in about January time. So I used to play football at the time, Sunday league, as you do, 21-year-old. I always out on the piss. And it was about January time. I got pins and needles down the entire side of my left side of the body. When I say pins and needles, it was, shit, I can't walk.
Right.
So then that was on day one. And then day two, I'm limping along going, I still got pins and needles. Pins and needles go in a day. They go in a day. Well, a month and a half later, they're still there. And I obviously told my mum, like, what the fuck is going on? You know, it got to the, we will touch on it a bit further in a minute, but my anxieties were going crazy. Like I'm going, what the fuck is going on? You know, I've got no idea. So mum goes, go and have a sports massage. I managed to make it. Basically, I went to the doctors. When you go to the doctors, and it's really difficult and say, I've got pins and needles, they, okay, it's a trap. It could be a trap nerve. We thought it was a trap nerve. So what happened is by March, it got a bit better. When I said the pins and needles, I was limping, but it was manageable. But when I got there, so to Austria, I've been on this gondola, Meyerhofen, you'll know it, next to the Strass Hotel. Yeah, the Penkenbahn.
Yes.
So I got to the bottom of that Penkenbahn and I looked up. Bear in mind, we've been going on holiday there every single year since I was 3 years old. Mum and dad used to take us, and then at 18 said you can still come, but you got to pay. I'm 21 years of age, looking at the bottom, I went, I can't go up there. And I went, you know, my brain, I went, I can't do it. And the flight there, I was like shitting dog, shaking, you know. So anyway, I managed to through the holiday. I barely skied because I just couldn't get up the mountain. Got back, had a meltdown, went to Australia. And when I was in Australia, I went to shave. This might sound quite strange when now I've got this, but I remember I went to shave and I thought, fucking hell, it's really strong. My face, right side of my face, I was shaving and it was like I couldn't touch it. You know, it was so sensitive. So the doctors had just given me blood testing. I didn't know what was going on. So I got back and the whole size of this face kind of went numb. And then I was getting what's called optic neurosis, where basically I couldn't see straight. I was pissed, you know. So I rang up the hospital and I said, can't really see that straight, and I've got numbness on the side. They whisked me in about a week later, and I had a lumbar puncture, so it's like a spinal tap.
Yeah,
had the spinal tap, had an MRI scan. Within 3 weeks, I'll never forget it. My dad went, I got my appointment. Do you want me to come with you? I went, no, it's fine. It's only be a trapped nerve. And I walked in there, and this doctor, oh fucking hell, it's rough even now. He was like, yeah, by the age of 35, 40, your best case scenario is you're going to have a walking stick. I was like, fucking 21. I'm sat there like, really? Worst case, you'll have it by 30. And I'm just going, oh, it ain't a trapped nerve. He says the words multiple sclerosis. So I was like, Jesus Christ. Anyway, I wobbled out there. I didn't walk. Cried for a few months. Went off the rails for a little bit. And then I got onto medication. Whether the medication is all the medication does is, so basically what's happened is multiple sclerosis means multiple scars.
Okay.
My white blood cells are attacking my nervous system. So it attacks a part and then it repairs a little bit, but never quite recovers. So the left side of my body is weaker than the right side.
Okay.
And then the right side of my face is weaker than the left side. I smile.
Yeah.
But it's better. So the idea is when people get disabled from multiple sclerosis, they get more attacks. Okay. And then the more parts, you get one bit in the back of your spine, you're gone. So I started taking medication. I think a couple of years passed and I was still going off the rails a little bit. And I thought, well, I'm still here and I'm still hanging in and I'm still playing football. And then I got to about 26-ish. And then I had the kids.
Yeah.
And I went, no, got to do something about this. So, yeah, I did. And I think it was a group of friends signed up for, it was similar to a Tough Mudder, but it was it's called, anyone should do it. It's brilliant. It's called Nuclear Races in Brentwood.
Oh, I lived in Hornchurch for a year.
So it's round by the bunker place. Anyway, so I started getting a bit fit for it. I went round it and went, Jesus Christ, I'm unfit. But then blamed it on the MS. And then I started going, no, you can be fit with MS. And now you're beating that person with MS. So finished that off. I think a year or two later, my friend was like, look, come to my home gym. We'll start working out together. So then I was like, okay, cool. Got into it a little bit and then nothing. And then roll forward to about 30. I think only about 31. That's it. I was like, right, this is going to how I'm going to get over this. I'm going to stay fitter than it. And since then, it's become a bit of I know people get the impression because you're on Timeline Skulls, you're a bit of a drunk or whatever. No, this is my insurance, gym, running, all that sort of thing. So yeah, touch wood, I've had it since I was 21. Touch wood, they were the only, as far as I'm aware, attacks I've had. But you just got to stay fitter, I feel. It's not mind over matter. It's because if you're going to get me, it's going to get me. But yeah, I'm lucky. There's people my age who are wheelchair bound. There's people who live till 60, 70 and they're perfectly fine. So that's how the disease works. But yeah, lucky with a stroke of, trying to keep fit as well. So,
yeah. Well, Lazy, that is very honest and brave of you to discuss that with us and share that with us.
I never used to talk about it so much because it was embarrassing. But when you then change it around and go, hang on, I can do 30 pull-ups with MS and you can't, okay, that's great. But like I said, once the kids came, it was, you know, I cannot afford to get ill. You know, any father, mother, you try your best, you know, whatever you can. And I'll roll back to the 21. Really, with it is a disease of the nervous system. So my mental health shot to bits. So when I went to the doctors, they gave me the option, you know, it's like go on tablets, pills, whatever, or try exercise a bit harder. And I did, and it worked, so it's like a two-prong attack. It's good.
Yeah, I mean, that's wonderful to hear that. And just this podcast isn't about me. This is about you and sharing your story and the fun, and then this very honest part of it. But I mean, when I came out, you know, in my early sobriety, I was taking citalopram, you know, quite a very popular sort of anxiety, depression based sort of medication. It didn't do me too much good really for the 2 years I was on it or so, but it was better than being off it for me. But in recent sobriety, I've been able to wean myself off that, and now my run. I mean, I try and run 20 miles a week. I'm 11 miles.
It's more than
away.
me at the moment.
I'm 11 miles. No, I'm 7 miles away from 1,000 for the year, which was my goal.
Oh, well
done. So I've done all right there. But yeah, exercise. I'm now at the point where I manage my mental health. Well, I manage my mental health through exercise, but by distancing myself from people and things that are no good for it. And I think you may be similar, that through experiences or bad experiences, I'm now in a stronger position, and at my age, I'm a bit older than you. I'm 42 now, but I understand myself a bit better than I did as a younger man, and I'm able to, you know, not necessarily choose, but I distance myself from things that I just know aren't very good for me. I wanted to, actually, you were so honest there discussing your MS with us, Lazy. And you've been kind enough. You're happy to chat about the training you were going through, and you had a bit of a, I don't know, is mental block the right word? You had a bit of an issue with the swimming, and I think it was the open water swimming that became the problem.
I'm gonna put it out. I fucking hate open water swimming. Just gonna put it out there for the starts, because when people think about it, and again, I'll just put it out there. There's a difference between, I can swim. Like when I say I can swim, I won't drown.
Yeah.
There's a difference between swimming, not drowning, and swimming in the sea.
Yeah.
You know, for a prolonged period of time. So yeah, that again stems back, because I did that exact triathlon. I've done it. And that's what pissed me off the most afterwards. I was really, really fucking pissed off with it, you know, really pissed off. So again, COVID happened. I did it. I think the triathlon was 2018. The last one I did was, seems years ago, but you booked it for 2019. They scrapped it. 2020, they scrapped it. And I think they even did 2021. They scrapped it.
Yeah. Because it was this year. We're talking about this year, wasn't it? Yeah.
It was this year, but I hadn't been training the prior years. I basically did it. I still go out riding. I still go out running. That's 2 of the 3. But I avoid swimming like the plague. I fucking hate it. I don't like the water. I'm scared of it. It was a mental block. The thing is, I think, is it a training issue? No, because I probably did train as much as I did for this one as I did the previous one. I went for open water swims in the lake. You know, I went down the beach. I don't know if you saw the pictures or whatever. I did it. I went out there. Something in my head, I'd be fine. I'd be absolutely fine. Yeah, I can do it. Then the next thing, I'd say I'm going to drown. I will not drown, right? I can tell you now, I was never going to drown, because you've got a wetsuit on. The wetsuit, it's a buoyancy aid. You just lay. But I had these, and any of the lads who know me and the triathlon before, we did the triathlon in 2000, and how they didn't call it off for the sea being that rough. Honestly, it was horrendous. They was talking about we saw the canoes in the sea, and it was bouncing, and we go, fucking hell, we got to swim in that. Oh my God. Anyway, got that done. So if I've done that, how can I not do this? So I think I think I built myself up a little bit. I think I should have left it off of Twitter, to be honest. I should have left it from everywhere, because I'd done 2 half marathons and I'd made a bit of a sort of thing about. I was really happy that I did that. I did really good times. But this, it just, no matter how many times I went to the pool, it weren't clicking. I couldn't. I'd get in the pool, I'd swim a length, and I'd just go, no, fuck it, I can't do it. And that's not me, because normally I'd be like, right, I can do it. But there was, mate, I just couldn't. And I was up until the night before. I was up all night. I was going, right, I'm up for it. I remember doing a little skull with a protein shake the night before, going, yeah, I can't skull tonight because I'm. And then fuck me, I couldn't sleep. 3 a.m. I went, I ain't doing it. So what I did of that morning, I did a bit of a video of it. I just went for my bike ride.
Yeah.
I said I did the bike ride of the route, but I did it before the triathlon went out, if that makes sense. I got up early, and I did the run as well. Oh well, I've done a duathlon. Yeah, that was really difficult because I had, and again, Twitter's quite good for giving impressions, because I'd get pissed the weekend before, but then the next few days I'd be training.
Yeah.
I wouldn't post every day I train, because it becomes tedious and people get the ump,
Yeah.
if you're posting every single run you did, people get the ump. So I was training and I was doing things, but probably not as much as I could have been. There is an ability issue as well, because it's like anything. If you're confident in your ability, you overcome your anxiety. So I can go for, if you said go for a 200-mile bike ride, on it, no problem. Strong legs, I can do it. Swim in the sea for a kilometre, I could do it. But yeah, I had these pictures of the canoeist pulling me out and just going, how embarrassed. I think it's the first ever time I thought I'd rather not try and do it than fail, if that makes sense. So it was an internal battle, but I think I actually did the right thing.
Do you think that's, I don't know, but could that possibly be an age thing almost, Lazy? As we get older, we tend to become more aware of our own
mortality.
In fact, we're not quite as you talked earlier in this podcast as a young 21-year-old, Sunday League football, invincible, go out and do. I mean, I certainly know, since becoming a sort of a father 6 years ago, stopping drinking 5 years ago, I'm aware. I have certain responsibilities to my family, but I'm aware of, when I go, I'm a snowboarder, not a skier, and a terrible one. You just talking back to what you mentioned previously, I was brilliant at everything as a kid. I could pick up a badminton racket and play junior county level. We were good footballers. I was a very talented young cricketer. I tried snowboarding at the age of 30, and it was the first thing in my life that I couldn't do. And I'm talking, when you were sort of talk about the swimming, I went snowboarding for a week, and then my decision to get better at snowboarding, I went and did a ski season. Couldn't snowboard. And we got there mid-November, and I quit snowboarding 10 times before January the 1st. I could not. I had a mental block.
They always say that skiing's easier to learn but harder to master, but snowboarding's harder to learn but easier to master once you've got the hang of it. I was skiing for 15 years. I tried to snowboard twice, I think. Fell on my ass. I was like, nah, I ain't doing that. So yeah, I can understand that. It is really hard.
It was the first thing. It was the first thing in life that I couldn't do. I couldn't pick up and rely on my natural ability to get me through, and I couldn't cope with it. My reaction was to not do it. What's your, on reflection, what's your plans going forward with your triathlons?
I'm gonna do a triathlon next year.
You're gonna do one?
Yeah,
Open water?
Yes, yeah. I'm gonna book swimming lessons. Because like we said, I'm pissed off that I can't do it. So I want to do it. So I'm gonna wait until the new year. I will always be able to run and I'll always be able to cycle, but the swimming. So what I will do is just focus more time on the swimming. There's a great place in Rochford, in Essex, and they've basically got, the only way I could describe it is it's like a pool, and they blow you, if that makes it. There's like
Okay.
That sounds wrong, but it's like a treadmill,
It
but in
sounds
the water.
expensive.
No, it's like a treadmill in the water. I guess it's like 10 meters square, something like that. You go in there, nothing happens. You stand, and then the waves blow towards you, and you
It's
swim.
resistance work.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's resistance. But you're in a swimming pool. It's about 1.5 meters deep or so, and it films you. And I had one lesson years ago, and I went from being absolutely useless to being a little less useless, but quite a bit less useless within this hour lesson. So I'm going to take a couple of them, and I'm just going to persevere with it. It's because my cousin Lewis, he's just completed the Copenhagen Ironman, and I'm like, mate, what is it? It's a 2.5 mile swim, 160-mile bike ride, followed off just to tip it off with a marathon towards the end. And I'm like, mate, I'd like to do one of them at any one time. You know, it's an achievement. So he's genetically a freak, but I need to follow what he's doing. He just head first, right? I'm going to swim for a week. I'm going to swim for 2 weeks. Like he said, you cannot keep doing something and eventually not get better at it. You can't. It's impossible. You can't just do something every day, every other day. Go and get in the pool, do a length. And I used to be like, no, well, you know. And he's in there doing his lengths. So yes, that's my plan. I mean, I have got a bit of a plan. I'd like to do, because there's different length triathlons. I'm only talking about doing a sprint, you know, and people will be like, well, so you have the sprint and then the Olympic distance and then a half and then a full. So an Ironman's a full. I'd eventually, next year, I want to do a sprint and an Olympic. And then a year after, I'd like to do a half, which is half of everything for the Ironman.
That you've just mentioned,
But yeah, there's baby steps at the minute.
No, and I think certainly it's something that I do now. Goal setting is something, and whatever those goals are, I've found, you know, running this 1,000 miles for this year, whether it's a big, small, medium goal, whatever it is, for me, it has kept me on the road, working towards it. And that has been beneficial for my mental health, which, let's be honest, is not only beneficial for me, it's probably beneficial for those around me. So it has many good benefits. We've had a wonderful chat, Lazy. It's only fair that I offer you the floor as such. Is there anything that you wanted to touch on that we maybe haven't touched on? Any shout outs you want to offer out because this is going to go out as a video, really?
Yeah, that's a hard one. I mean, I can't shout at anyone particular. That's really unfair. But no, I'll just shout out the whole community. I mean, I wouldn't be talking to you now if it wasn't for the community. They're great. Like I said, there's too many people. I couldn't shout out any one person. That's just really put on the spot. I haven't got anything. Have we got anything that I haven't gone over that I'd like to think about? Crisps. We've done crisps. We've done beer. Done triathlon. Done MS. No, I think that's. I mean, I could sit and I could talk to you for another 2 hours. you know that.
Well, there's
you've only got a certain amount of time.
There's plenty of opportunity that we always like return guests. They're wonderful, and this has been it's been wonderful talking to you. What I probably should have done, and I haven't done at the start, although we are not talking about sobriety here, what I touched on Sober October at the start. If anyone goes onto the Timeline Skulls Twitter profile, they can follow the links to the Macmillan. I think it's gosober.org.uk. I might have got that wrong, but if you want to donate, if you've got a spare penny or two, I know times are tough for everyone. If you can donate, that's great. If you can't donate, just consider sharing a tweet or, you know, retweeting something. That can help to get it out there. Mr. LazyJam, thank you so much for being a guest on Henry Weston's Old Mate the Podcast. It just leaves me to please remind everyone to just like this video and give us a follow if you're listening to us on a podcast. Lazy, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. Thank you for being a guest, my friend.
No, thanks for having me. It's been great. Cheers.